Now hold on to your horseshoes, every pony.
Oh, hi there, Filthy Rich.
Just Rich, please. And I'd like you to meet my fiancé, Spoiled Milk. Honey, this is Applejack and Big Mac.
I felt guilty every pony else had to work harder because of me. So I decided right then and there,
Is Diamond Tiara illegitimate? Seems like a strange question to ask, right? Where could you possibly have gotten that idea from, I hear you saying? There's no way the writers would ever intentionally put that in an episode. Just because Diamond Tiara acts like a little bastard doesn't mean she actually is one. Sorry for the language, by the way, I'm just trying to stop this video getting flagged as for kids by those bastards at YouTube. Anyway, no, I don't think this was an intentional decision by the writers, but intentional or not, I do think there's sufficient evidence to suggest that Diamond Tiara's parents were not married when Diamond Tiara was born. Let's review the footage. We know that Diamond Tiara's parents, Spoiled Milk and Filthy Rich, weren't yet married during the flashback in the episode Where the Apple Lies. Filthy Rich very explicitly refers to Spoiled Rich as his fiancé.
And I'd like you to meet my fiancé, Spoiled Milk.
my amazing husband-to-be is running the Rich family business now.
Now, here's the key thing. Look at AJ and Big Mac in this scene. Look at how old they look. Pony ages can be a hard thing to nail down in this show, but they certainly look older in this scene than they do in this one, from Going to Seed. That places this flashback chronologically before this one. Now, when the episode Where the Apple Lies first came out, there was some confusion as to whether Apple Bloom had been born yet or not, seeing as she wasn't featured in the episode at all. But this episode proves it. Apple Bloom had already been born before the events described in Where the Apple Lies, and therefore Apple Bloom was born before Diamond Tiara's parents were married, and by the looks of things, it wasn't a particularly close call either. Now, some of you young, hopeful, wannabe horse fans might be thinking, Stunted, I see where you're going with this. You're saying that because Apple Bloom and Diamond Tiara appear to be about the same age, that means Diamond Tiara must have been born out of wedlock? But looks can be deceiving. After all, several years go by in universe and the CMC never changed their design. Maybe there's just an age gap between Diamond Tiara and Apple Bloom and there's nothing more to it than that. Poor, naive, stupid viewer. Your brain must be too full of career aspirations and social aptitude to remember the other clip I showed at the beginning.
My family's talked about it for years, and now I'm finally old enough to race.
Apple Bloom has only just turned old enough to participate in the Derby. The Derby that in that same episode Diamond Tiara is also shown participating in. If Diamond Tiara really is younger than Apple Bloom, it can't be by much, maybe slightly under a year at most. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to compete against each other for the first time in an annual event. And 1 year, that's simply not enough time to go from this to this. And before any of you go trying to claim that maybe Applejack and Big Mac just had crazy growth spurts within that year, kind of like how Fluttershy was really lanky in her youth despite only being a year older than Pinky, I'd like to point out that Cheerilee was also shown in Where the Apple Lies, and she had already grown into a young adult. And since the flashback in Going to Seed shows Applejack without her cutie mark, we have to assume it takes place before the flashbacks in the Cutie Mark Chronicles and Pinky Pride, which shows Cheerilee was still young enough to have the filly design when the main six did get their cutie marks. So what does that tell you, huh? Because it tells me that Cheerilee would have had to go through her entire teenage phase in just 1 year, and that's impossible. Case closed, Diamond Tiara is a bastard. Any questions? Huh? Any of you doubt my superior pony knowledge? No? Well, you should, because there's actually two potential flaws with the theory. The first one is that pony ages aren't always the most consistent. Granny Smith appears to be at
maximum old
during the Cutie Mark Chronicles, but then goes back to being slightly younger again in Where the Apple Lies, which throws the timeline off a bit. There's also this shot from the episode Sparkle 7 that makes the same mistake. It doesn't hurt the theory directly, but it does imply that counting on the models to determine age maybe isn't as airtight a strategy as we would hope. The other potential problem with the theory is that the Applewood Derby isn't ever explicitly stated to be a yearly event. It's heavily implied to be, by this line.
Well, it isn't every year I get to say this twice, but Derby racers to the starting line! Derby racers to the starting line!
But if it isn't a yearly event, that would give Diamond Tiara and Apple Bloom a lot more room to have an age gap. Even so, after factoring both of these issues in, I still think Diamond Tiara being born out of wedlock is the more likely explanation. And not to imply anything about illegitimate children, of course, but it could be a valid explanation as to why Filthy Rich and Spoiled Milk got married in the first place, despite Mr. Rich being so pleasant and Ms. Milk being so... not. Because they had an unplanned child and their values dictated that they get married as a result. Okay, I'm starting to head into headcanon territory now, I should stop. If you like this video, then I'm sorry, but it's already too late for you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to work.
Heavens no! We're getting dressed. Dressed? Beg pardon, Rarity, but we don't normally wear clothes. Gently, please.
I guess it's also possible that she's adopted.
Falls on my rump.
I didn't consider that.
Rump alone.